We're back, baby. It's the Horns Up, Talking Texas podcast. Fisher DeSopoulos, DJ, Nikki, Snacks, Credit, gentlemen. We've been doing the show. This is our third season doing this show, and we've probably done 30 plus, easily 30 plus, almost closer to 40 game previews. And it's kind of surreal that this game preview is for the college football playoffs, Sugar Bowl. Our Texas Longhorns take on the Washington Huskies New Year's Day. Thank God it's not New Year's Eve in NOLA. That was so bizarre last year, the New Year's Eve. Totally not the move, but the New Year's Day is a lot better. We have the second game, Michigan versus Alabama, the Rose Bowl in California. They go first. We're second at the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans.
Isn't that a little curious, though? Like, why is the West Coast going ahead of the Central Time game?
I think it is a little bizarre. But I think they wanted this game, I don't know, maybe under the lights at night later in New Orleans, maybe more of a fun feel.
It's indoors.
Yeah, it's true. It's indoors. Yeah, but I think that here's a take. It gets so crazy in New Orleans on New Year's Eve. I think waking up that day to go like out to like the hair of the dog type thing versus like, all right, New Orleans kind of get regroups. Everyone can regroup.
So they're being respectful for the degenerates and the drunks that stay out too late and party too hard.
I would like to think so. I would like to think that's why. Yeah.
Right,
so
yeah. We all know that people in California go to bed early.
Yeah, exactly. New Year's. Okay. Like we're all going to clink glasses, cheers. You know, everyone's home by like, unless you're going to like a festival or like a, like a rager, people are home by like 2, 1:30. New Year's Eve, NOLA, like you could be, at Harris
8 a.m.
8 a.m. Exactly. You could be gambling, till game time. So it could be that crazy.
There will be some all-nighters for sure. There'll be some people who party for New Year's Eve, go to the casino, keep it going, maybe throw some ones down on at an establishment on old bourbon, and then they might roll up to the game, smelling like winning.
Smelling like other things. Winning, definitely one of them. Hopefully,
as long as it's none of our Longhorn players, that's all that I care about.
Yeah.
I know those guys.
Player would you put your money on to be that guy?
Or if you I'll answer that, but I want you to keep this in mind. Here's my question: if we could have one of our players has to go, like one of our players has to pull an all-nighter, do New Orleans New Year's Eve, like they're going out. Who would that be to? Which one is most likely to go out and rip it on the town? It's just such a wide receiver move. Like I don't think he's that kind of kid. But I could see like Worthy just being like the guy that goes out and sends it. Like I don't foresee any of the guys on defense. Definitely not Ford. Definitely not Sweat. Maybe Worthy can get after it. He's one of the younger guys, I guess. He's a junior, but I would say like it's a wide receiver thing to go out and do it. I know like maybe last year with the mullet Quinn, but I think Quinn has turned a new page. I mean, it's Arches. It's Arches City.
Someone in mind, Nick?
Well, I mean, Jay Witt, is the senior, so he's definitely of age, and I think he's familiarized himself with a lot of the New Orleans culture. But I think Bert Auburn's the obvious choice here.
Toss's boy.
Yeah, I think as far as guys that you would want to go out and have a good time, just because he's ice water in his veins, he's so clutch that like I would have no worries about him showing up with a little bit of a hangover, a little bit of a headache, and he'd still put it through the uprights from 50, from 60.
Honestly, like if your head's in a cloud, like there's less to think about.
Yeah, I'm down. A couple whiskey sours for Bert, the night before. Get him rolling, get a little buzz, get a little exactly. A little hurricane to wash it down. So yeah, if we had to send one guy, would it be Bert? Like, all right, one of y'all, like a representative has to go party the night away in New Orleans. Is Bert our best bet?
Probably.
Okay.
I like the idea of like clouding his head a little bit so he doesn't have to overthink things when he makes kicks.
Yeah, a couple of shots to ease the nerves. I'm with it, honestly. It's definitely a practice that we could hopefully begin to establish at the university when we head to the SEC next year in regular season games and carry it to the playoffs if it's working. All right, well, speaking of the actual game itself, gentlemen, let's get to it. College football playoff, here we go. 3 key players from our team. We'll preview Washington a little bit. The 3 key players from this Texas Longhorn squad. Toss, we'll start with you. You can give us one and we'll go down the line.
Yeah, I think that this first pick for me is an obvious one. The guy that touches the ball the most on offense, but very much going to be a key player in this game. Quinn Ewers, coming off of an incredibly impressive performance in the Big 12 championship against Oklahoma State. and I'll let you guys go with your first picks, but a lot of mine has to do with the way that I think that Washington is going to approach the game from the defensive side schematically, and what they're going to try and force Quinn to do. And I think that he's going to throw a lot this game. He's going to be forced to throw a lot, and he's going to be forced to throw a lot 20 yards and into the line of scrimmage. I think they're going to force him to throw short across the field and not let our playmakers beat them over the top deep. Obviously, X has a ton of speed. AD can, make good contested catches down the field and can beat guys with the speed. And then JT is obviously a matchup nightmare. Any linebacker that tries to cover him, he can blow past him if it's a streak, and beat you in multiple different ways. So yeah, Quinn, is going to have to take care of the football and going to have to, operate at that same 70% completion clip that he's been doing throughout the entire season. Even, he missed those 2 games, and Malik, he slotted in admirably and won those 2 games for us. But I think we know Quinn very, very well at this point, even though he hasn't played a complete season with the Texas Longhorns, and he's a streaky quarterback. Within games, there are times where, he throws errant balls, and can get out of rhythm and then quickly get back on rhythm. But I think this is going to have to be one of those games where he stays in rhythm and near perfect almost the entire way.
Nice. Nick?
Jalen Ford, the senior, he came out and said in media day that, his heart told him he wanted to be a Longhorn and go win a national championship for returning for his senior season. He could have easily gone the NFL draft last year, maybe been a, 3rd, 4th round pick, maybe even 2nd. Some teams were high on him, and I still think he holds a lot of value. His senior season, he's been anchoring down that defense, and, it's a team that does it both ways. They throw the ball really well and they run the ball really well. Dylan Johnson's a really talented back, and obviously Penix is the runner-up for the Heisman, who some people believe is the Heisman. He won the Maxwell Award as well.
That's true.
So you want your defensive general out there playing the best game of his life, and I think when you're focused in and you're locked in like that, I mean, I really don't see a lot of hurdles in front of him. I mean, he's decided to stay for his senior season, and this game means more to him than he's ever played in his life. So Jalen Ford, my number 1 key player.
Love that. I'll go back to back. I guess I think that's fair. I will do Ryan Watts, return to practice. He's practicing this week in New Orleans. And to me, Rome Odunze is a guy we talk with our buddy Adam Lazar White all the time about NFL draft. Shout out to him, but he's a guy that we frequently mention in the top 10, at the very worst top 15. He's going to be a fantastic pro, I think we believe. And I think a lot of people who don't watch Pac-12 football, and I know it was a bit more hype this year, but a lot of people who don't watch Pac-12 football and really get to see him, I think he's going to be on full display, and it's about containing him. Stopping him is next to impossible, but containing him is big. And I think having Ryan Watts, allowing Muhammad and Brooks, who are the underclassmen, to take, I guess, easier assignments with McMillan and Polk, who are both professional wide receivers too, is going to be a big benefact into us winning this game. So Ryan Watts is my number 1 guy that I'm looking for. I'm happy he's healthy. You want a kid to play in this game. You don't want him to sit out, right? You want everyone to get to experience this. So Ryan Watts is my number 1. And then I like the 4 pick. Obviously, yours is a big pick. But Sanders, man, Colt McCoy said it on our show. We posted that clip yesterday. Like, if he could have picked one player to play with on this current team, it'd be Jatavian Sanders. And when Jatavian Sanders is cooking, our team is unstoppable. He just adds such an element from the tight end spot. He's so multifaceted in the way he receives the ball, screens down the field. He could control the middle of the field. Another guy that I think is going to be an excellent professional football player. But right now, and I mean, he said it, that he's here to take care of business. Like, his future is on the line here. If he doesn't take care of business right now, there's a chance he comes back, but he wants to go pro. He wants to ride off in the sunset. And I think a lot of guys feel that way. And I think he certainly can. And if he's the type of guy that goes over 70 yards for 5 catches, I think that's not my number that I'm giving out, but I think we're in the driver's seat if he has a really big game.
Yeah. I mean, I think in this draft class, probably the 2nd ranked tight end behind Brock Bowers. And there's no certainty that he's going to be in the 1st round. So I think he's got a lot to play for. If he balls out in the Sugar Bowl and then goes to the Natty and balls out again, those are very important reps that you're getting in front of recruits or from scouts. to basically get your tape out there. I mean, they're going to look at the biggest games possible, against a Washington team that's got pros, against a potential Bama Michigan team that's got plenty of pros. So yeah, I'm right there with you. My second guy, you had already mentioned him, but Malik Muhammad, he's a freshman, but I do think they're going to try to pick on him a lot. He's getting first team reps in practice right now, and I think rightfully so, but they're going to try to expose him, for a young, DB against these super vet wide receivers that are both going pro. And look, there's just some extra motivation here. His brother plays for Washington, who was a DB there, Jabbar Muhammad, his older brother. So, I mean, he's going to definitely want to ball out in front of all his family and friends and, kind of have some bragging rights between siblings. But at the end of the day, like, just lock in and know that, you're our guy on the outside out there. And we're trusting you, with a really big task. And I think, just play your style of ball, and I think it'll all work out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think my second pick, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to pick a position group. If you guys wanted to narrow it down to one of our guys within this position group, you're certainly welcome to, but I'm taking our running backs as a collective, because I know we're going to see Baxter, we're going to see Blue, we're going to see Keelan Robinson. A lot of this has to go into my first key player pick too with Quinn. I think the Washington defense and their game plan is going to be, we are going to drop into shell coverage. We are going to limit the plays over the top, and we are going to force you to get 6-7 first downs in a drive and then convert in the red zone, because it's something the Texas Longhorns have not done an excellent job at throughout this season. It's been our Achilles heel that I've mentioned, at least from a statistical standpoint. When I've been looking at our team on third down, we are not great. We're not a great football team. We don't convert at the level that you should if you're a college football playoff team. And then when we get to the red zone, we are under 50% when you're talking about attempts in the red zone and converting those into touchdowns. And when you're playing a guy who was a Heisman finalist that you mentioned before, Nick, and Michael Penix, that guy is excellent at putting 6 points on the scoreboard every single time that offense gets the ball. So to me, the running back room and Quinn are going to have to be nearly perfect from an efficiency standpoint when we are driving the ball up the field. And unfortunately, we don't have Jonathan Brooks in this game, who is averaging over 6 yards per carry. The guy with the next most attempts on the team is Ced Baxter, and he has, I think, 4.5 yards per carry. So this is a big time prove it game for him. And obviously he's a young guy. He's a huge dude. He's massive for, his size as a freshman is, it's truly remarkable, and he's a freak athlete, but he's going to have to be effective on first and second down so that we're in front of the sticks and putting Quinn and the offense in a position to succeed. Where we're looking at 3rd and 4s or third and 2s, and we can just throw a quick little bubble, get Xavier or Whittington or whoever, JT, to convert on those first downs. So the running back room, I think, is going to be incredibly important. Now, we have an excellent offensive line. I trust all these guys. I think they're going to get it done, but they're going to be tested. And I think Washington is going to test them in that way.
Yeah, agreed.
You go, Josh, because I'm going to tie in my magic number with my player.
Perfect.
Do you want me to do my third one then real quick, Josh, before you do yours?
Yeah. That's great.
My third guy is, it's going to be Byron Murphy. And it's a guy
you bastard.
Is that yours as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go. Maybe we have different reasons.
I think you mentioned it already, Josh, and you talked about the Washington wide receiver room and how talented it is with Polk and McMillan and, of course, Roma Dunze. The only way you stop that is by getting to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You can't rely on your defensive backfield to keep up with those guys the entire game, because it's not going to happen. You can't do that for 4 quarters. Eventually things will, gaps will occur and they will take advantage, and they're too talented. You have to get to the quarterback, and it starts, I think, winning in the positions where we have our best players, which is the interior defensive line. Sweat is in there to plug up those run gaps, to stop Dylan Johnson from being effective as he was the entire season against these other Pac-12 teams that they played. Murphy is the guy that led our team in hurries and in pressures.
Ooh.
And if he can get to Michael Penix as much as possible, that will open up opportunities for him to get his hands on Penix, and also for Sorrell and, of course, Ethan Burke, who led our team in sacks, to kind of capitalize and close that gap, close that window, and hopefully create a couple of turnovers and force Michael Penix into uncomfortable situations and get to him early so he doesn't have time to improvise and find those playmakers downfield.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk a little Murphy and then I'll respond to your running back situation. I think on Murphy, he was the number one graded from a passing standpoint defensive lineman. Sweat was the number one overall graded PFF player on the defensive line, but
Right.
that's including rushing and passing. Murphy's the number one if you just look at passing, and he has to show that this week, or this next week on Monday. He is such an integral part. He's another guy that can seriously raise his draft stock here with all the eyes on him on Monday. And Washington has a really strong offensive line, but if he can get there, and he could create some pressure, even get a sack or allow the other guys, the edge guys like Burke, Hill, to get in there and get a sack, and Barron Sorrell to get a sack, then that's going to be a game changer. Really controlling the field position, making it third and long, making Penix beat you, right?
Yep.
We know we're going to be able to take away the run game. Not that the run game is bad, because Dylan Johnson's a strong running back, and I watched him up close and personal against USC absolutely explode for 200 plus yards, but that's not their strength, and that is our strength. We know that we're going to be able to get in there, and PK is going to take away the run. So they are going to be confident in their ability to beat the pass, but we have to make it third and long, second and long, really make it tough for them to manage. We allowed them to operate, in second and short and keep moving the ball and control the time possession and let Penix play his best football, which we've seen him at his best, but we've also seen him at his worst. He's not played beautiful football every single game. We're going to have a shot if we can really get some pressure. And the running back thing, I think you're right. It's good to group all these guys together. They've been playing excellent as a collective. Robinson, Baxter, and Blue are a great running back room. It's a great group that's committed to being by the committee. And obviously, we've sung the praises of Tashard Choice throughout the entire season, and we love him as a coach for us. And I think it's kudos to him, to keep these guys their heads in it, losing Brooks, losing our MVP, arguably maybe the best running back in the nation, and really not missing a beat. I know it was a bit harsh on them, but they put it back in my face. And all these guys, when it's time for them to step up, at least one, if not two of them step up. And, if all three of them step up, we're going to be in an excellent spot. Nick, your third guy, and lead us into your key number for this one.
Yeah, so I'm not going any offensive players here because I think our offense is going to take care of business. We know what they're doing. At the end of the day, this Washington offense is very high octane, just like ours is. So we're going to really rely on our defense to make stops and create some pressure and make Penix feel uncomfortable. And that really just starts with Ethan Burke and Barron Sorrell. I know that Sweat, I know that Murphy are going to do their job, so I don't really need to highlight them. You guys have already highlighted them. But Burke and Sorrell, these guys, team sack leader, and then one with 4 sacks. We need to get in there and create pressure. Michael Penix has been sacked only 10 times all season.
Yeah.
As a team, they've only allowed 11 sacks. So I think my magic number for this game is 4. If we can create 4 sacks in this game, it is game over. There's no way that they can move the ball as effectively as they want to. He's going to hurry up his passes. He's going to rush his decision-making. He's going to feel the pressure. He's going to feel uncomfortable. They're going to try to rely on their run game as much as possible if we're getting to the quarterback too much. And we know what we do against the run. We stuff it. So I think 4 sacks. I could even go down to 3, but 4 I would love to see as my magic number for sacks here.
That's crazy because my number, I wasn't going to go with it, but one of the ones in prep that I was just, toying in my mind was 3.5 for sacks. Now we don't need 6, we don't need 5, even that'd be great. But that 3 to 4 range, I think if we can get to him like that it's going to really be massive.
It's asking for a lot. I mean, they average less than 1 sack a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was the offensive line. This was the offensive line that was given the Moore Trophy, which is the best collective offensive line unit in college football. So they're highly lauded, and for good reason, because of that 11 sacks that they've let up, for their quarterbacks, 10 to Penix, like you mentioned, Nick, like that. They're a really good unit, but our offensive line unit is really, really good too. And we were certainly in contention for that award as well. I mean, I still think that because of how good our defensive line is, and we had the Outland Trophy winner, collectively in the trenches, we have the advantage there, but we have to capitalize.
Yeah, I'll say my number at 62.5. That's the over under right here. I'm not saying where I'm betting right now, but if that game goes under, I think we're in good shape. If we could keep this a low scoring game, I like our chances. That means we're running the football well, we're playing great defense. And if this, if the total is hovering in that, high 40s, early 50s range, I really love what we got going, because that means our defense is playing their brand of football and controlling this game for us, which is ultimately, I think, what we need. Like Michael Penix Jr. is It's not Joe Burrow of LSU, but he ain't no slouch. Like this is a guy that could be a first-round pick, should be a first-round pick with all the teams that need quarterbacks in the NFL. And again, like we've been talking about this receiving trio, and they're really dangerous. So if this game goes under and the total is in that 40s and 50s range, I really love our chances to win this football game.
Yeah, my number is 2. And it's the number of turnovers that we need in this game to win this game.
Wow.
Interception, great. Forced fumble, great.
Hey, you'll take it.
Dylan Johnson fumbling, any of the receivers I don't really care. But if we can turn the football over and actually scoop the ball up or pick it off and end up going the other way, I think that we will be in good shape, because I love our defensive line. This offense that we're facing is very, very good. And they're going to score points. And Josh, sure. I honestly think that you're 62.5. I think it's an impossibility. I think this game's going over no matter what. But I don't think that it necessarily means that we can't win this game because they're going to score too many points. But I certainly know that if they turn the ball over twice and we only turn the ball over once, or we don't turn the ball over at all, and we have a positive margin and turnover differential, we have more opportunities. Obviously, that's just simple math right there to score. And if we can capitalize and give ourselves more opportunities, I think we will end up winning this football game. And I'll say that, Nick, I loved your point about you're not worried about our offense. And my own counter to my initial pick of why I picked Quinn as an impact player, and if they try and drop the shell coverage like I'm talking about, our receivers and our tight end and our running backs and our offensive line are so good at blocking that if you give our guys 5 yards of space, they will take it to the house. It doesn't matter. Like, you can't stop our offense from getting those big hit plays because we're so highly efficient with our playmakers with the ball in their hands. So we're going to score points. I have no doubt about that. So if we can just get a couple of turnovers, I like our chances a lot. And not to mention, I still think as good as we were in the Big 12, we still have more to prove. And we still want to make a statement to the rest of college football that we are not only in this game, but we are here, and we are here to stay. And obviously, there's ties to Sark and Washington. You already mentioned the sibling rivalry. Like, Quinn still has more to prove, I think, to the national audience as far as how seriously he needs to be taken as one of the best quarterbacks in college football and as a potential pro. And I don't think this is the type of game where we're comfortable with winning and holding on to a lead and playing this close and playing a low scoring game. I think we want to throttle them. Like, if we can be in that position, beat them bad.
I think I agree with you there. And look, if the only thing they lead us in from a number standpoint is they pass more than us, they lead us in passing yards. Other than that, we lead them in pretty much everything. And if Quinn could outgain Penix Jr., it's another way I like our chances. But hey, look, you say that we have something to prove. I do have to say, everybody's got something to prove in this college football playoffs. Bama has to prove that they belong, right? Michigan has to prove that they can get over the hump. Washington has to prove that the Pac-12 is a serious one, that they're gone, but that they're a real serious program, that they belong in the blue blood conversation. I think everyone has something to prove here. So which ultimately should make it exciting and very competitive. Nick, the line is 4, the spread, the over under now is 63.5. I was mistaken. So if we go under that, great. So 63.5 is the over under. The spread is 4, I believe I'm seeing it. Places have it at 4.5, but we'll lock it in at 4.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're taking the Horns to cover 4 points. I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna go against that. Score prediction for me would be the Horns 34.
Okay.
Washington 17.
Wow. That's a beatdown. That means they got nothing going. They have some good defensive players. I got to give Trice a shout out their edge. So I think I thought you were going to go with the crazy 40 there. So I respect the 34. 34-17. I like that toss.
So that would be under as well. Hey, if we win, we win. That's all I really care about.
If Arizona State can hold them to 15 points, so can we.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I do too. I have the opposite end of the spectrum here. I have the Washington Huskies scoring 31 points, and I have the Texas Longhorns scoring 48 points.
Wow.
And going way over and covering by a mile. I think this is going to be a barn burner. I think we're in for a very exciting day of football on Monday, and I think it's going to be finished by a fantastic performance by the Texas Longhorns offense.
I love that. I think this is a situation similar to, unfortunately, the like K-State, Houston, like TCU games. I think we take a good lead, and I think they come back and battle us and take us to the brink. I like us covering. I think we win 31-23. I like that. I like them getting a shot at the end to, maybe tie it up, but our defense holding stout. I like that level of excitement. We win by 8, cover goes under. I feel good about that.
I was kind of in the same ballpark. I was like, okay, maybe it's 41-34, but I was like, how about instead of them getting a chance to tie it at the end, they have a turnover and we score.
We score, yeah.
Yeah, and it ends up 48-34 or 48-31.
Yeah, it's a step on the throat game. If you can, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Any last bits, gentlemen?
I'm speechless.
Off to New Orleans it is. We'll see you guys next time. Hopefully, to the victors goes the spoils, and hopefully that's us. Fisher, Tosopoulos, DJ, Nikki, Snacks, Crider. Big hook 'em horns. Big hook 'em horns. We'll see you guys in the new year. We out ya. We love you. Just a nice little friendly reminder. This show is brought to you by who, Nick?
BetOnline.ag. Go to betonline.ag to get 50% off your welcome bonus when you use the promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. BetOnline.ag, your ultimate sports book for any type of betting. They've even got a casino. If you want to hit the blackjack table, hit the roulette table, be our guest. BetOnline.ag.